All right, so there it is.
There it is.
All right, so I guess so we officially started, and let's just go ahead and kind of do a introduction and let even the people know what's going on and what they're listening to. Really, this is Keenan DeJohn. I'm sitting here with digitally with my bigger brother from the same college mother, Dr. Tobias Q Brown. Dr. Tobias Q Brown. Absolutely, bro. Real quick, man. This is not a like informal shirt and tie, you know what I'm saying, type thing really that's going on. But this is a weekly podcast that happens every week. Myself, Keenan DeJohn, the host. You can tune in to KeenanDeJohn.com, and every Tuesday check out a new podcast, see what's going on, and we really just share inspiration with listeners, people who are entrepreneurs, work from home professionals, aspiring, professionals, looking for inspiration, looking for even practical steps as far as walking out their vision and reaching the place that they want to be. Hearing positive stories from top entrepreneurs is one very way to be able to have a model to roll after, and have a path, and just hearing people go through struggles and overcome them. That's the whole basis of success. You know what I'm saying? To
Exactly.
have a mistake and bounce back. You know what I mean? To be able to, get a setback and then come back. That's just what success is. So that's really the overall and the general, the direction of this podcast. Real quick though, Dr. Brown, I'm gonna let you introduce yourself, and really just tell the listeners a little bit more about you, and even while we're having this call, from there, I just want to touch base on even how we got started, how we met each other, and kind of that platform. Well, go ahead, bro.
So real fast, my name is Tobias Q Brown. I run the Taekwondo Educational Group, and I just create solutions. My team and I, we create solutions for students. And so, when you asked me to do this and we had this conversation, I went back to my mission statement, just trying to figure out, what it is. That you just got to keep revisiting it and reminding yourself, and it revitalizes and re-energizes that dream, that vision that you have. And so mine is to create solutions that empower parents who in turn use their shared resources to gain better access to admission, funding, and athletics for student athletes in college, and to help them become productive members of society through education. So that's me in a nutshell, and the company in a nutshell. So everything from it's easier than you think, and that shares my story of how I went from a 1.2 GPA cumulative to a 3.93 cumulative GPA and finishing the top 1% academically. Put me in the top 2% of all the students in the nation, top 4 of all the students in the world. So that, I guess, ties in this interstate when we're on campus. And how do we met? I don't know exactly how we met, but I do remember we're both business students in the College of Business. And from as early as I can remember, I was walking from my dorm over to the actual College of Business, and I would see you outside, and you had your business. You were selling jewelry, and I saw you. I think we talked about this the other day. I saw you moving it, like people were actually buying. And I'm saying to myself, how is this dude selling jewelry on a college campus, like silver and gold? You had the catalog. They paid you. You got your percentage from it, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't know how you were doing it, but I knew you were doing it. And it's something when you see somebody else who's great, it catches your attention, and you're like, I wonder about this guy. And so when I went back to my dorm room, I had a candy store, and we called it the stove. Is really what it was, and I had everything in there. I mean, we had candy, we had chips, we had food in there, chicken sandwiches.
Yeah.
I had those at the height of it, I had 4 of the biggest George Foreman grills, and we was cooking chicken every day. and you're not even supposed to have a George Foreman grill in there. You had Hot Pockets in there, then we had specials in there, the Coleman special, $1, $2 or whatever have you, up to the Hungry Man special, $5, $6, $7, I was just trying to raise the price point so every time they come in there, instead of spending 75 cents, they spent $4.75. And so we will raise that with everybody who comes in. And so, that was the basis. It was beautiful. My roommate, he was on board. The people our suite mates, who we shared the bathroom with and our rooms were connected, they were on board, And as long as they could cut the line and get that stuff before everybody else, they didn't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
We did everything, man. Just on that, those memories, we would make maybe 50 of the sandwiches. I would grill the sandwich. I went back to my Aunt Dorothy. She gave me the recipe on how to grill chicken. I go home and, sit with her by the grill, and while she was doing it, she had me cooking it, and I brought it back to school. And we would sell make 50 sandwiches, and they were sold before we cooked the last one. Thank the basketball and football team for that. Appreciate that. They're my people. So, it just, we could go on from there, but that's how it started. They got bigger. I guess we'll talk about risk later on, but I risked it all just to have that store, and I didn't know it would get that big. At the height of it, I was making as much money as the mid-level administrator. And so, not the baller president and stuff like that, but like the people, I made more money than the dude who was over the whole entire dorm. I know I made more than he did. Let me see. I made more than. Right. That is a shot back in there. I don't care. I know. But it was a couple of other ones that I was either equal or I was making more than they cash every single day, and they never knew it.
Yeah, I knew you were making money, bro. You straight up, your setup, you walk into your shop. You walk into your shop. You walk into your dorm room, and it straight look like a shop. It ain't look like a dorm room. Only thing made a dorm room-ish was beds. You know what I'm saying? He couldn't take those out. They was bolted down. But I didn't know. I knew you were making money, and I knew that you were making money. But I didn't know how much money you were making. I don't think anybody really did. You know what I'm saying?
Right. It was so quiet. That's one of the hardest things, especially with our culture, is as soon as we get some money, we want to flash it in the air, or if we sing a song, unfortunately, not everybody, but some people, it's inventory. I got a brand new shirt, I got a brand new car, I got a brand new ring. I don't want you to know. You don't need to know how much I make.
Nope.
And when it gets quiet like that, the people who got real money don't ever say anything about it at all. So, that's people. That's not a color. That's people all together. So, let me see. I just wanted to get better. I wanted to. We made it. We went around everybody, and then we started delivering. And so, it just. I want to make it convenient for you to continue to support my business. So, and that's what I did, and just give a good price at a fair price. We definitely fair prices. And they were
y'all did have a fair prices. You had really. You start beating out the other shops. You know what I mean? The other little stores or dorm room folk who were selling, lollipops and stuff. But you came in like really with a vision, because the closest store in town, quote unquote, was 4 to 7 miles away, stripped down 42. So people had to go to town to get something, and anybody saw, the opportunity for it, and people were doing it. But what you did is you came in and you did it. You Walmarted the whole game. You know what I'm saying? You probably could have started a little dorm franchise, you know what I mean, just selling off inventory to different colleges or whatever. But you came in and made it bigger and better.
True. It started with a few things. Those little lessons turn into lessons that we use today. And I am very cutthroat. And I know you see the smile and everything, and it's wonderful. But when it comes to hitting a goal, being successful, I still have that same drive. And so somebody's going to be number one. It's unfortunate. It's the first place, the second place, the third place in the Olympics. But somebody's going to be number one. It might as well be you. If you're going to do it, if you're going to get into it, give it your all. And so we had to, the girls were as sweet as pie. Women on campus seemed to be a little more driven than the men did, in most cases, in my opinion. Because I'll give you an example. The first people we knocked off were the girls from Detroit. The girls from Detroit had penny candy, but they were knocking it out the box. I mean, they went and got boxes of it, loads of it, and then people were buying it from them. They were making money. Well, I called my brother at home in Chicago because we had penny candy here as well. And I told him what happened. I said, man, we don't need boxes. We don't need boxes of it. Man, give me like 3 nice Costco or Sam's Club size bags, and we'll eliminate the competition. Bam, they were gone. So once people realized, oh, Tobias has this penny candy now we can do that. The second people we got off, there was a girl named Amber with a store. And the reason I started, I have to thank her because I was a customer and I went to her and she had these muffins. And they were really big muffins and she got them from Sam's Club. But after a day or so, they packaged them maybe 12 together, but they didn't package them individually. They just packaged the whole 12 pack. And so I went a couple of days after she had gone and I bit into it and it was dry. I was like, Amber, hey, honey, this is dry. And the truth is, she's like, so you bought it, whatever. And I was a little, that was a bitter pill to swallow after I just spent money with you and you were just really callous and cavalier about the whole thing. I said, no problem. All right, well, I spent the money with you, whatever. And so then we went to Sam's Club. I spent my $250. That's all I had. And bought a whole bunch of stuff from Sam's Club I thought people would want. And then she was the second one to go. And the reason I knew we were on the map is because the Kappas were crossing at night. It was the line, I remember the line with Mansell and his whole group, their whole group. Yeah. It was outside of the library in the middle of the night or whatever have you. I put everything in my backpack, opened up a table over there in the library and said, who wants some candy? And just spread it all out. Sold out, sold the rest of it in front that night. And then we were on the map, and they knew where we were. So there were two. There was a girl with Super Donut on my tennis team. I played tennis. She was on the tennis team. You got to go too. It don't matter. And she probably weighed about 140 pounds soaking wet. But she was heated. She came mad. And I didn't know what to do. We panicked. Daniel was like, she's on her way down here. And I didn't know what to do. So I took the entire box and donuts, put them on my bed, and just threw the comforter on top of it. It was this big hump in the middle of my bed. And I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't even know what you're talking about. And she was like, you need to stop selling them. So I can't do that. So she was the third one going. And after that, everybody started knowing. They were like, I'm going to go here. And then somebody was like, no, you need to go to Tobias' store and just go look at it. And then after that, that's how it got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then we started adding other things, Hot Pockets. Somebody said, I want some hot food, not necessarily chips and stuff. And got that. Then we started cooking grilled chicken sandwiches. And at the height of that, we had 4 George Foreman grills, the big ones that Mom has at home. And then we had 4 refrigerators of those mini college refrigerators because I was going to get one big refrigerator, but the FCC or whatever, the law said we couldn't do that. So I had 4 small ones. One was for chicken and cooking. One was for freezer. Then we started selling ice cream. Only thing we didn't sell was dairy because I couldn't keep it. But those were good times. That was good times. So I digress on that, but those were good times. It was really, really big. And even the Columbus Dispatch, and you can look it up, came and did a story on me in the store.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
All right. So to even bring it, I guess, full circle to where you are now, what you're doing now, because now you're a full-time entrepreneur. I know you wrote your book, and you just pretty much travel around the country, travel internationally. People pay you to come and speak, to students, to college audiences, to parents, and you teach people how to get better grades and live better in society.
That's society, yes. Yeah, parts of it. So it goes a little deeper. So we all have dreams. We all got visions. We all imagine ourselves being somewhere in the future, being, whatever it is. And it's my job and my calling and my everything to help you get to where you want to be. So that's what I do day in and day out. It came through education because that is the easiest way in a gift of mine to be able to reach people and touch them, no matter where you are, because we all have work to do. Even when I had a 3.93 cumulative GPA, I still had work to do.
Mm-hmm.
Success doesn't happen on accident, nor does it. It's not instantaneous. It's over time. But once you get it started, once you get success going, it's like that bicycle, and you step on it and you ride. Then pretty soon, the truth is, you can just coast. And you can continue to ride as much as you want, and you can continue to coast as much as you want. But if you're going uphill, you got to ride a little bit more. You got to press the pedals a little bit harder. But when you go down that hill, man, you can kick your feet off the pedal and just hold on and just control it. And so that's what I do. So we create solutions. I create solutions because it all started, Ken, when I went back home. I just got back. I don't know where I was coming from, Germany or somewhere. I don't know, whatever. So I get in Chicago, and I just had a taste for some candy. I'm like, I'm going back to the hood. I'm going to the old candy store. I go in the candy store. I walk in. There are two young girls there. So I stand in the back, and I wait on them to get their stuff, and they're laughing and giggling like little girls do, whatever have you. And one of them reaches out. He said, you owe $4.37.
Mm-hmm.
And the girl, one of the girls, pulls out a $5 bill. And she gives it to the clerk. To which he, in turn, he's like, quick quiz. You know what? You gave me $5. It's $4.37. How much change do you get? And the girl said to him, and these are her exact words quoted, Mr. Tony, I'm not sure how much we get back, but I know you're an honest man, and I know you give us the correct change. Okay, so my ears perking because my eyes are wide open. Any sleep I was there did not exist anymore. So, I love people, so I started talking to the young ladies, and I asked them, what school do you guys go to? Blah, 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 school down here. And what grade are you in? And she and I found out they were both in 8th grade preparing to graduate.
Wow.
So now I'm livid. And I mean livid in every sense of the word. I guess I had to hide my emotion from them because they didn't know. They were oblivious. So, but the problem is, I guess I was mad. I'm not sure I was mad at the system that cheated them and kept scooting them through. But I'm saying to myself, who else is going through this? Number one. Who else is getting ready to go to high school and they're going to be unprepared? So if they skip them through high school and they take them to college, they will get there. And then now we got freshmen in college who got in because of their GPA somehow, but are unprepared, at least for the first year's level of work.
Mm-hmm. When
you get to college at that level, there's no more plan. You have to be able to construct a paper. You have to be at a certain level, year's level of math. You have to be able to compute and be able to bring together thought. And those are the three things. And just like with my mom and dad's generation, it was reading, writing, and arithmetic. And they were behind on all of them. And I promised myself I would never, in my power, whatever power I have, allow another student to skip by without me being able to help or being able to contribute in some way. And that's how I got started with everything.
Got you. All right. So then off that, let me ask you, where do you see now the future of, I know this is kind of general, but the future of students with everything that's going on? And then how does how does Dr. Tobias Q. Brown and your company fit into remedying the situation or helping to improve, just the whole nature of the student?
It is a complex answer, but I'll let me simplify it. I do think the students will be fine overall. I do think that. What they're trying to do in this generation is make their mark like every other generation does. Every generation wants to make its mark. In the 1970s, they had their music. In the 80s, they had their music. In the 90s, they had music, and so on and so forth. The most interesting and beautiful part about this is this generation in this last 10, almost 15 years technology has catapulted. And so everybody's trying to figure out really what's going on. Everybody is. Because 10 years ago, there wasn't much email use. There was email use, but there wasn't much email use. Maybe the same thing with phones. And not only can you do that today, they can look at their homework. My mother and father had to wait until that letter was mailed home with my grade. A woman I went to grade school with, we're still dear friends. Her son, she's able to pop on the Power Score and check his grades today. She can see the test that he's taken in the last week, this just past Monday through Friday. She can take that test, and that's the beautiful thing of it. And so what's happening is this generation is trying to make their mark. High School Educational Group, there's still a gap, and it's one that we intend to fill. So dreams will be here. They were here in the generation before our generation, and they'll be here in the next generation. What our job is to help these students figure out what it is they want to do and get them to the other side, even if I have to take them or we have to take them kicking and screaming. And so what happens is some kid, it's usually how we see something or we see somebody and we connect with it. I got a friend who flies fighter jets, and he saw a black pilot, and that made him want to be a black pilot. Same thing with my I got an Asian friend, and he saw an Asian chef, and he said, that is what I want to do. And so now he owns a restaurant in downtown Chicago. But it's just, and sometimes it's who you see. Someone looks like you or whatever have you. Someone is doing, it doesn't matter if they look like you or not. If they're doing it and you see it and you connect, you just automatically know. I don't know how you know. You just know. It's like saying, how do you know you're loved? You just know. You just know. So what Ty Queen does is we create solutions. And so, like, for instance, it's easier than you think. Shares my story of F to A. And when I go around the country, when I go around the world, recently I was in Vancouver speaking to students, and I found out the problem exists everywhere, not just in the United States. I was recently in the Caribbean. I was in St. Martin and Anguilla speaking to the students. Same thing. They all having issues. Mr. Brown, Dr. Brown, what do you think I should do? You know, how do I make an impact? I want to make an impact, but show me how, and that's what we do. We show them how. I know you see the plan, but once I see the dream. But what I do is we create a plan, and I'll show you. We create a set of steps that you can walk up the steps to where you want to go, or we create that pathway from point A to point B. If you want to be an athlete. So if you want to go into college, that's one of the projects we're working on, showing students how to prepare in high school for college. For college athletics, if you're going to be an athlete, it's a different beat. You're up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, every single morning, except for Sunday, probably. And that's it. But the other 6 days, you're up running. And if you're not running, you're conditioning,
You're grinding.
Right, you're grinding. And if you're not doing that, you're on the track, you're on the court, you're on the field. You're doing something. And now what you're doing is you're juggling. And what happens in college is they require more of you than they did in high school. And then especially if you're away in a college somewhere, you used to be able to, you finish high school, you're tired to go home. Mom made macaroni and cheese. Man, she made some pot roast, and oh, boy, we're going to go to town. Well, that doesn't happen in college. Right. Somebody made something in the cafeteria, or you had a sandwich yesterday, and you don't want what they have, so guess what? You're going to have another sandwich. And you're tired. You're going to get a shower, you go to bed, and you still haven't done any homework. So that's me in a nutshell. What do? We show them how to succeed, how to thrive. And everybody's not going to go professional, although they dream of it. That's fine. But my job is to make you a productive member of society. So you want to play basketball and you want to go to pro and you want to be an architect? Okay, let's do both. You're not going to let go of the architect dream just to go pro. You're going to do both. I can't tell you if you can play or not. I'm not a judge of talent, not a professional judge of talent. But you're going to do both. So if you go and, I mean, you could be the number one prospect, but you need one time for somebody to hit your knee like it happened to Russell Westbrook. 2 years ago, bam, your knee is gone. You're out for a year. That didn't even look like a hard hit, but he was done. And so now let's prepare for you to be this architect. Let's prepare for you to be this chef. Let's prepare for you to be this dancer. Let's prepare for you to, own real estate. Let's prepare for you to be this mogul. And that's what I do.
I like that. Let me share something, which I don't know if I ever shared this with you or not. I may have. But we used to sit and parlay, in college, and I remember one distinct conversation that we had. And you shared some tips with me, bruh, that afterwards my GPA straight up start to increase. I'm gonna share this nugget too, man, for any students that are listening to this, and this pegs to something else. But you're like, go to your teachers. You remember? Yeah. Go to your teachers and set up an appointment with them, regardless to your GPA. And so this is what I was doing. I started going to, I don't know if you said it. I mean, you said it, of course, like this is good information, but I didn't take it casually. I took it and I applied it, and I saw results, right? So I went to every single one of my teachers, and I did it henceforth. All right, I went to every single one of my teachers, regardless of the grades, the ones I was passing in, failing in, got an A+ in. And I would go to them and I would say, I want to set up an appointment with you. I would set up the appointment. We would sit, and I would ask them, what is it that I need to do to get an A in your class? This did two very distinctive things that I saw. One, they saw a student taking initiative, saying that they wanted to set up a meeting about their grade, their class, right? Taking initiative. And I had teachers that I set up a meeting with, and I asked them a question. They said they can't do nothing, just do the work. But my grades went up. We might have had 2-3 other assignments, in the semester, but my grade went up. And I equate that really to saying, hey, can I sit with you? I'm inquiring about my grade. But asking the question, what do I need to do to get an A in your class, it actually puts the responsibility on the teacher.
Yeah.
Because now it becomes their job to instruct me, to give me all the information I need to make an A. And then, of course, it's my job to do the work. I got to do the work anyway. But in some cases, it was like teachers, they didn't necessarily know. I mean, they can say you do the work, follow the syllabus, which some of them said, But I had some teachers, they were like, what do you need to do to make an A? Okay, well, if you do this, go there, and you look in this book and go to this chapter, and you read that. Next week, we'll be having a test on this. In a couple weeks from now, we're going to be looking at this information here, and the test is probably going to be off this part right here. They literally give me this stuff wasn't in the syllabus. You would see the syllabus, study this, do this. They gave me a cheat sheet straight up, bruh. This is what helped me around this time in college is when I was starting to really get serious, about school and about my life. And you talked about how, when we start meshing and you had the store and I was selling jewelry, it was sitting in the class with Mr. Sampson, and he was, Mr. Sampson, one of those cool dudes, older cat, real young, and he would ask us, okay, so what is marketing? We read the book definition, and he would be like, okay, class, what is marketing? I could talk out the side of my neck real good, and he'd be like, okay, what is marketing? And after going through this and liking the teacher and liking what we're talking about, that's when I went to the internet to learn marketing. I ran smack dab into internet marketing and haven't looked back since. Right? That was kind of like my little pop story on how I even got into online marketing. But I remember all around this is like maybe the same semester, same year. We had this conversation. So now I got a system so where I'm not going to get bad grades. 2, I got interested in my studies and started to, this was me using my personal initiative, hashtag, personal initiative to go to the library, to get on the computer, to log into the internet, to find out about marketing because I was interested in it, right? And then from here, now I got jewelry that I'm selling. And so I would ask questions on issues, relevant issues that I had hours before selling, to a prospect, and then get information in the marketing class, go right out of the class, walk down the stairs of the business building, get a table because I out of the closet, and a chair because I was cool with the custodians, set up shop, have my jewelry and stuff out, and start implementing classroom activities to make money. You know what I'm saying? I was actively doing some stuff, right? But it was really from the system that you get. I can't say that my success in college and my grades, I can't not include our conversation because it was a turning point. I really took what you said and start doing it, and it really helped what was going on in my situation, right? Take that combined with my own interest that initiated my personal initiative, you know what I'm saying? And then being able to, one, have products where I can apply what I'm learning and make money. Those were really like three very bullet elements that helped me to start getting serious about not only my grades, because I didn't necessarily look at it as grades. I looked at it as like success, as results. I was really making money, so it was like an intern, right? But then with the grades, I was really making better grades, and I was like, oh, check this out. It was easier than I thought. You know what I'm saying? Like, really, it was. It really was. But then I started to implement. But even with students, something that you were just saying, taking the students kicking and screaming, and and I've noticed this with more of the older students, because you have the traditional, elementary, middle school, high school, college, grad school, that kind of go through it. But you have a lot of untraditional students who may have gotten their GED a couple years later after high school, and they might have caught an interest and said, well, let me, further my education, and went back to, college at the age of 24, 27, 32, or going back to get their grads, degree, at 35, 45, 50, whatever the case might be. So they're very untraditional. But what I've found amongst kind of a common thread amongst those caliber of students, if you will, is that they have a reason other than mama said, professor said, my senior, teacher, instructor said, but I have a reason to be determined to finish this out and to go back. I have a reason to, grind it out for 6 days a week and maybe even study on, that seventh day a little bit at night, but I have a reason to work this thing out, right? And I know you had something to say off that.
No, I mean, you're absolutely right. I can speak to a few things, especially on the business side, and I know business people, you said, listen, so let's bring it over to their form. A couple things. The first thing you said was, let's let grades, and remember, every time, I know it might have been hard for some of you and easier for some of you depending on what grades you had, but each one of those grades, each math, science, whatever, let's don't call them grades, let's call them clients now. So what happens is each client is different. And whatever it is you want to do, it doesn't matter. But if you want to sell something, which is what I do, let's say you want to sell something. So you have to figure out what that client wants and give it to him or her every single time. And so when you have those grades, you got different teachers. People who, I admire all people who do well and get those A's. Because, yeah, you're an A student, but they have an ability. Black, white, Asian, Indian, Latino, tall, skinny, fat, small, whatever, big nose, little nose, one leg, it doesn't matter. They have an ability to figure out what that person wants and give it to them. And that completes the first client. And then they're able to do it over and over and over again. They are willing to pick up the phone when nobody else will or when everybody else is asleep. Leave a voicemail. See, it's not like calling at home, somebody's home at 2:30 in the morning. No. If you want enough, that age-old adage of, you'll get, if you call 10 clients, 5 of them will listen, 3 of them are interested, and 1 or 2 will buy something. I think that there's some truth to that. There's a truth to those numbers. See, if you aren't willing to pay the price, and there is a price to be great, you have to ask yourself if you're willing to pay that price or not. Do you want this badly enough? If you want to lose 10 pounds, you'll get up and do what it takes. You either have to do some cardio or you have to eat differently. And I mean pulling out the all red meat, pork, sugar, all of them. You just figure it out. Figure out which one works for you. It doesn't matter. You have to be able to put in the work. Yeah. See, I don't eat no 9 o'clock anymore in the morning. I don't. There is not a morning that 5:15 beats me. Not many at all. Because I gotta reach people. And I can't hope and wish and pray only that I connect with these people. I gotta do everything that's in my power, because I'm a Christian man. I am a Christian man. I take everything in my power, and then for me, I'll leave the rest of it up to God. Wow. So there were 3 men in the Bible. There were 3 men. There was a guy who was over everybody. They call him the Lord. And there were 3 men, and he gave everybody their own measure of talent. And one he gave 5, one he gave 3, I think, and the other one he gave 1. And the first one, he left and did what he had to do, and he came back. And the one person said, "You gave me." I think it's in Luke. He said, "You gave me 5 cities, and I took my 5 and made another 5." Mm-hmm. And he was like, "Man, very good job. Wow." It couldn't tell the joy of the city. You can have all 10 of them right now. The next one said, "I got 3, and based on what I had, I used what I could get. I got what I wanted. I got what I could get with what I had. I got 3. I had 3, and now I got 3 more." He's like, "Man, good job again. You can have all 6. Oh, now you're over all 6." And the last one had a bunch of excuses. See, what happened was, I knew you were hard. You stole, you reaped places where you didn't. So now he all in the man's business. What does that have to do with anything? I gave you a job to do. And you could at least took the one, went down to the bank and got some interest on it. You didn't even do that. And he called him, "You evil, wicked, and lazy servant." And I completely understand it. Either you got to find something that you can get in and give your all to it.
Yes.
See, Ken, what are you willing to die for? And I mean die in every sense of the word. Every sense. This is it. If on nothing else, if I die today, they will remember me for what?
Wow.
If you don't have anything that you're willing to give your life for, your breath for, then life ain't worth living. See, once you get the game for a while, you done made you a little piece of change. I done made my little money, a little piece of change over here, and that's fine. You get you a newer car in the house. All that stuff is empty. When you die, it's going to be a date born, a year, and a date dash died, whatever year that is. The important thing is that little dash and everything that happened in the middle of it. Steve Jobs died a few years back. And if I say Steve Jobs right now, I don't know what your answer be, but if I say what's the first thing that comes to mind with Steve Jobs, most people will say Apple. Maybe I might be wrong, but for the most part, they will say Apple or some product, iPod, some iPad, whatever. Nobody will say money. But Steve Jobs had a burst of it.
Wow.
Martin Luther King died. And nobody said, he had, money. What is he known for? What is Mother Teresa known for? What was Mahatma Gandhi known for? Pretty soon, you need to start realizing that becomes more important. But on the way down, you want to do something significant. You do want to make money. Let's don't pretend. Shoot, everybody got a mortgage to pay. 90% of stuff done around the world is done to pay a mortgage. And so you got to realize the price it is to pay. We can go through them 5. We can use the 5 for college in this podcast right now. The first thing that everybody does is they all set goals. And you got to set them. And when you set them, go somewhere, sit down, get quiet, and come up with the model day for you. The model day is I wake up, I shower, I drop the kids off. I'm over here. I'm going to see this client. I'm going to see this client. I handle this business, go see a meeting, go pick the kids up, drop the kids off at practice rehearsal, come home, get get everybody food, homework done, and go to bed. That's my model day. Well, create that model day and create a week's worth of it, then 2 weeks, and then a month's worth. And let's just do day number 1 just today. And this day right here will lead us to being great. But you have to do day number 1 on day number 1, day number 2 on day number 2, and so on and so forth. Keenan, you and I had a conversation, and you said something that mattered to me, that stuck with me, that I will remember all the days of my life. See, if we're building a house, is what you said, and you're building it brick by brick by brick. Let's just put in today's brick. Let's don't worry about the next 47 bricks. Let's just do today's brick. And that is what separates you from everybody else, because when you start putting them up, pretty soon you got 10 bricks. Pretty soon you got 20 bricks. So pretty soon if you start, I remember when I was saying every week I need to save $500. And just whatever, I don't care, $500 for bills, $500 for saving, $200 for living. If I can't buy it in that $200, I just ain't buying it. So if we go out this week and it's under that $200, we can still get groceries and stuff, that's fine. Well, week number 1, I had $500. Ain't a lot of money. I know. Week number 2, I had $1,000. I know. I put it in another account in the savings part, so I couldn't touch it and cut that card up, so I knew I wouldn't access it. And out of sight, out of mind. Week number 10, I had $5,000. All right, put a little change. Week number 20, we almost had half a year. I had 10 grand. I was 22 years old when this happened. At the end of the year, I had maybe $22,000, $23,000. For 20 years old, it's not bad. But that's in addition to still paying everything. All my bills paid, all my everything. So now if I have an idea and I want to put this money into the marketing over here, I can put $5,000 into it and not feel bad about it. Mm-hmm. Or take a chance. So setting goals is 1. Communication is number 2. You got to communicate with the client. I talked to a guy 2 weeks ago at church. How you doing? All is well, brother? Okay. How's your business? It's good, man. He doesn't owe me an explanation, but I'm just trying to help you. How many calls have you made this week? None. How do you expect God to bless that? I'm waiting. You ain't done nothing. But you can't just dream about it. It has to be some steps. You got to do something. Everybody in the Bible has something to do. If your name is Gideon, you got an army to put together. If your name is Paul, you got work to do. If your name is Peter, feed my sheep. If your name is Jesus, you got to die. Everybody got something to do. I digress, man. I'm sorry. I can keep on talking.
Nah, you went in real quick. You know what I'm saying? If you go get on your soapbox and get on, hey, that's what we're here for.
I can't go on. I mean,
I want to shift gears though, real quick, man, and kind of steer it, because we talked a little bit, about before, even some about now, but I want to go a little bit more into now and then even the future, because even from a success and business perspective, right now you're a top entrepreneur, you're a business owner, you work for yourself, and you pretty much get paid to travel and talk. You put together programs, but you're doing what you want to do most of all. What does a typical day, for you look like, and how did you, and you touched on this part a little bit, what does a typical day look for you, and how did you go about putting together this vision for your life?
Okay, so in this season, right now we're in April. We're the end of April, right? Mm-hmm. So my goal, I got a bunch of summer speeches and lectures and tours I'm going to do. But everything comes, my bread and butter, 2 things are happening. 1, the bread and butter is freshman orientations and speaking at colleges and institutions. And that starts in late July, goes to August and September. In those 2 months, I probably will visit over 100 institutions. Writing this book, trying to get this book out, which now we're working with the media to do a national push. To get this book out by August to prepare students and parents for 2015. So that's that right there. And so I'm just putting that together to let you know. So how does a typical day look like? We wake up. A few things I want to do. There's not a day that goes by that I don't at least make somewhere between 300 and 500 phone calls. So we definitely got to make phone calls. So I'm saying if we do 300 times 30 days, that's 9,000 phone calls. Somebody's going to say yes.
Yes, yeah.
You got to put those numbers out. Somebody's going to say yes. Somebody's going to say yes. We just got to get to it. And it's calling people back. That's what I do. I try to get some working out in. I run my 6 miles a day. I always once you open that door to ideas and stuff like that, they just keep coming. I'm writing them down, trying to sort them and organize them. In the early part of the week, I try to get a day or two in with my nephews and my godchild, whether we go to the movies or something. And that just turns into me sitting on the side writing notes while Rio number 2 is on 6 and 7. Mostly it's contacting people. It's contacting people and continuing to work on my brand. Like the website is getting updated, adding to Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook as much as I possibly can. But those aren't the priority right now. The priority is contacting people and preparing for the fall. Because if I don't prepare, it's like you got to do it because it's like that revolving door at the grocery store, at your Macy's or something. If you miss it, you got to wait till it comes back around, and that's a whole year.
Wow. Yeah.
That's a whole year. So, I mean, when you see it like that, it's a sense of urgency. It's waking up. It's like I can see it. I can see it as clear as day. When my book takes off and we sell millions of copies, then, we start, we can look at preparing for the next one. But for right now, it has to be in preparation for that, for this year. So we got a couple of things. Mostly the new book is coming out and going to speak to students around. So once the book comes out and it blows up, then I don't know. We've never really been to that point, so we'll see what happens then. But every day, I don't take a day off. I don't take a day off. I don't take a day off. No, I ain't taking no day off. So I just ain't taking no day off. I mean, it's what I love to do. It's what you could say you're tired. We can rest when we die. I guess in heaven or whatever, however that works. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it just I wanted more than anything. I wanted more than air. I wanted more than food. And I was a big boy my whole life. To this last year, when I started losing that weight, I just do. That's just me in a nutshell.
How did you become this, because you're internationally known. I mean, you go to even some states, even outside of, or some nations outside of the U.S., and you're like this, rock star. How did you become educational expertise internationally, and where does your positioning, your role take you? Like, where does your travels take you?
Where have I been? I've been everywhere. I've been at least. I probably only got about 10 more states to go to, and that's that northwestern area. But I'll be in Oregon this year. I'll be in Idaho. I've never been to Hawaii. I'll be in Hawaii this year. Speaking at the universities. You just put your message out there, man, and the world is so big, it's so global, it's so vast, it's so opportunistic. But we just got to get past these 4 little doors and our 4 walls, of the United States. I love my country. My country, 'tis the sweet land of liberty. Brother, when you walk out and you get that same message to other students, they eat it. They eat. I was at a koi pond one time, and we were throwing bread in it to the fish, and they were eating it up, and that's how they eat it up in certain countries. They just do. It's amazing. It's not like we don't. I'm not saying we don't. I'm just saying, we got we kind of value leisure more than work sometimes. So I don't want. We chilling. We'd rather watch Game 7 than learn a new language. But the problem with that is, what you don't realize is when you learn a new language, let's just say if we're native English speakers and you learn Spanish, you open yourself up to a third of the world, a new third of the world that you never did before. Number one, you become more valuable because when you put that on your resume, and I got to choose between two people, and I'm in Brazil all the time, I got a person, I can have a potential person who can have these conversations with them and help me to get my business into Brazil, into Mexico, into Cuba. It's a beautiful thing. And we don't even want to get to French opens you up to Africa. It's a beautiful continent. And so, I mean, it is what it is. I sat on top of the Burj Khalifa in Dubai, and it just changes your life.
Oh.
You got to see that, brother. I'll go back again. We can go together. We got to make that trip again.
Let's do it, man.
It'll change your life. It'll change your life. It just will. Sitting in Germany, I didn't realize how much they love Americans. They love Americans. We in that show having a conversation. Yeah, it's the world is so beautiful, so vast, and they need to hear what you got to say. They need to hear what I got to say. So when I say I got a book, it's easier than you think. Before I even finish the sentence, the man interrupted me and said, I want 150,000 copies. I'm sorry, did you say 150,000 copies? No problem. We can get that out to you. Let me find a distributor. I mean, it just changes your life. It just changes your life. But it's more than this sale. It's who can I change? See, when a guy, his name was Jeremy, I shouldn't say his name, but it's Jeremy Jahan. He was from France. He was like, can I get a copy of your book? When I was talking to the girl in the Netherlands, and she was like, my mother's a teacher. Can we use your video? Sure, use my video. She's like, if you're ever near the Netherlands, which will be in this year, she's like, we can get a stadium filled with people. I said, you got to be kidding. Wow. That's all I need to hear. I feel like little
right.
August Rush. I just need people to hear it. Changes your life. Changes your life, and that's what I'm talking about. And so it's a national push now. How do you get international? No, you just put it out there, man. It's just the same that's here. People are the same everywhere. People are beautiful. People are loving. People are hurting. People need to hear the message. When I go to the Caribbean, the same thing. They got the same issues, a liquor store, a church, and a chicken spot all in the same thing with a barber shop.
Come on, man. Good plan.
I'm talking about with a mall owned by mostly Indians. That's not neither good nor bad. I'm just saying, so then I go into Oakland, and the same thing is speaking, I think it's at Oakland University, same thing. Mm-hmm. San Francisco, same thing. LA, same thing. Miami, same thing. Houston, same thing. New York, Newark, same thing. New Jersey, same thing. Ohio. Then we back in Ohio. Remember they had that drive-through liquor store in Ohio?
Yes,
I can't fathom that.
I know, right? That was actually ingenious, man. I've been looking at that stuff with that zoning. That's a whole other story, Not the liquor, just the whole drive-through store concept is awesome. Yeah.
Exactly. But you just put it out there and you just see. But if you never go out there and you can see, you'll never sell anything. Yeah. You could take whatever product you have and give it to some people and make that trip to Toronto or make that trip to Montreal or make that trip to Puerto Rico. But you got to be able to speak Spanish. But they need your mousetrap. You got a mousetrap, and they need your mousetrap more than the people in the States do. You can still live where you live, maybe upgrade a little bit, but sell 500,000 new mousetraps in Puerto Rico. I don't see anybody having a problem with it because you multiply that times however much it costs, and that's what it is.
Right.
One conversation, and that leads to another one. Now you over here in Barbados, and they want 40,000 in your widget. It's worldwide. It's a beautiful thing, brother. It is a beautiful thing.
I like that. You had mentioned. Let me share this with you too, even before we go, because it's something that I want you to start. I feel like I'm about to prophesize something. What? Yeah, I want you to get your distributor. I want you to connect with a distributor that's able to push out at least 250,000 of your product. Right, connect with them now. I don't know if you have them now. I don't know if you do or not. I don't. Mm-hmm. Connect with them now and start establishing the relationship as you pave that path. Because one, as you start going about that route and doing it, you see, oh, wow, this is a possibility. And that possibility just becomes more real in your mind. Now you start seeing a vision even when you're not consciously looking. You know what I mean? So that can become a lot more attractive, you know, even with bringing bringing things into your situation. Start looking for that. And on a logical aspect or pragmatical perspective, when preparation meets opportunity, success comes. So I want you to look for that. That came to me. I couldn't just dismiss it.
Okay.
On another note, you had mentioned video, and that really got me to going because video, international, internet, you know what I mean? That those 3 words right there can really take a business and like catapult it. What new projects are you working on? What new video projects are you working on? You know what I mean? What is this next, you know, 365 days, you know, including or even outside of the, you know, the crunch season as far as from July to September, you know, what projects via video are you working on to really even boost your message out there even further and make the world, you know, a smaller place?
Well, so when you put your message out there, there is, when you put it out there, I didn't realize, I was humbled. I got a call from a top-tier institution, right?
Mm-hmm.
Top tier. And they were like, we want you to come speak to our students. I was like, huh? I almost wanted to ask, hey, it's for students on their way up and blah, 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 blah. I feel like, but I thought about it. When you see people running and they're trying to exercise in the morning, afternoon, or at nighttime or whatever have you, and you see them running, you only see people who are in decent shape, great shape. I'm not saying you don't.
Most of the time, right? Yeah.
But just for the most part, 80-90% you see them, and it doesn't look like they need to run. Usually there's one person in great shape, like, why is she running? But she's running to continue, to stay in shape or whatever have you. And I noticed that same thing when we were at Central. I stayed in the tutor lab more than the students who needed it, and I was ranked number one at the time.
Uh-huh.
And we were still there, and so it's the same thing. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 top-tier schools. So I'm going to videotape with them. We're going to do 15-minute sessions, and then I'm going to take from it and make one video. And then we're going to, market that video, whatever have you. But they asked me to come, and I was humbled, why. But then I thought about it because they got people who struggle just like any other institution. And so that's one of the big videos we got going on. I want to do it in Spanish and French. And so I want to speak to a group of Spanish students, and I have a translator right there, but I'm going to still be working. And the same thing with French, to open it up to the world just so they can know who Tobias Q is or Tobias Q. They want to know who this dude is. And it's crazy. And so, when you just love people, which is what I do, I never met a stranger in my life. So we're working on those 2 videos. Everything is upgraded. You'll see the new videos being implemented now. I have a video team that travels with me when we do the major things. I'll be in, hopefully, they had this contest and I entered it, and we'll just see if we're one of the finalists, and we'll take the team with us. But I was just at Iowa State, and I took my team with me, and they had some speakers, and everybody's like, who is this dude, Tobias? Who is Tobias? Because they saw the cameraman with me. They see the quality of it. They saw the interviews I was doing with students, and we just have round tables. And so I talked to the owner of a couple of McDonald's, man, and I can put this out there, I don't care. So we are starting mid-conversation. So I get about 15 students in the corner of McDonald's, and let's just talk about it. Let me see where you're at. Let me see what's on your mind. Let me see if you know what greatness is or you think you know what greatness is, and let's get you on the track, So, same thing with us. There's an Apple store we're working with, and we call it iTalk. And so let's just get students in here. Let's just have a conversation. Let's just talk about it. And let's record it and let the world see it, man. That's all I can do. And God will do the rest.
All right, yo. Before we go ahead and wrap it up, man, I've enjoyed our conversation. I've enjoyed the conversation. Yeah, we went to some levels. We didn't take it as deep as we normally do, but you touched the ocean floor a couple of times. Uh, but what other notes would like to leave? Right now the ideal student, the ideal ears are listening to your voice. What do you want to say? What's a last note you'd like to say? And then from there, pretty much we'll go ahead and close it out from there. And there'll also be a time where you can let people know where they can contact you and how they can get to learn more about Ty Quinn Educational.
No worries. A couple of things. I can say this to students. I can say this to business owners, prospects, and entrepreneurs. You have to prepare. The dream is one thing. It does come. Excuse me. But you're going to have to put some legs to that dream. If you want to be this baseball player, I mean, you can't have a social life. You can almost scratch the social life. You can't say you want to go to the baseball league. You can't. The MLB. If you want to be a surgeon, you're going to have to focus on that. If you want to be a tennis player, you cannot hang around the basketball and the baseball players. It just is what it is. The great ones all hang together. So you have to prepare. You are in this like hyperbolic chamber preparing. And I know everybody's on the outside and they singing and they dancing and everything, and that's cool, but you're preparing. And your gift they will all need, and they will pay for it, whether they want to or not. So you're preparing for that moment. And so I know it's hard to say goodbye to a bunch of things. I know it is, but you're going to have to. And so it's a training ground. And so either you're going to train or pay somebody else to do what you want done. And life is beautiful. But it'll give you whatever you ask of it, and it'll ask a lot of you. And whatever the price is, you won't have to pay it. You're going to have to pay that price. I don't care if it's $1, if it's $100. If it's $1,000, different dreams cost different. If it's $10,000, that's a different dream. That's a different dream. So I digress, man. I'm telling you, success is possible. I don't want to just give you pie in the sky. Pie in the sky is beautiful, but you got to put some legs to it, and you're going to have to do something. You got to pick up that phone. You got to send that email. You're going to have to change that Twitter consistently. You're going to have to hit that Instagram. You're going to have to do that Pinterest. I know I got to do it again today. See, we want the check. We want the check. The check is $1,500. We want the check, but we don't want to change the Instagram. Well, it doesn't work that way. You'll change the Instagram, which somebody will see, which somebody will repost, and they'll put it on theirs, and they'll funnel it back to you, and then there's a $1,500 sale. But it doesn't happen unless you put it up there. So I digress, man. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. Just watch me. We're going national this year. I'm not turning back.
I love it. That's what's up. All right. Just a couple more questions here. I know we say we'll close. I normally have at least 3 closes. But everyone has a message. Everyone has a story. Whether you are proactively voicing your message, to everyone who's willing to listen, and even innocent bystanders, or, you're quiet most of your life. But if you can take your message and put it into the form of a question, then Tobias Q. Brown, what is your question?
When you die, and we all will, or when you get old, whose life will you have changed, and who will you have helped? Because that's what life is about.
That's what's up. All right, and one more before we wrap it up. You could probably pull up, 10 random people off a street, or 10 C-level executives, or 10 moms, who run households, whatever the case might be. And if you ask all of them, what does success mean, you'll probably get a different answer from each individual. But to you, how do you describe success? What does that mean to you? And is it the same for everyone?
Success is not the same for everyone. It's as different as fingerprints, but we all know what it is. What is beautiful? Beautiful isn't one way a woman looks for me as a man, but beautiful is it's internal and it's external. But what does success mean?
Yeah.
Success is how you make a person feel at the end of the day. Success is you helping that old lady across the street and the smile when she turns around and says thank you. She has no money to give to you, but she can say thank you. Success is the look on that child's face when I go into teacher mode and showing him how you can do this and construct this problem a different way, this math problem, to solve it. And you see that he or she gets it, and the light comes on, and they look at you and they smile. Success is the man under the car, and me walking over to him, and I may know nothing about under the hood, but if I could just hold this wrench while he switches that over and puts that timer belt on, and he looks at me and just says thank you, that is success. So that's my definition of it. It's the way you make a person feel in that one instant when you have an opportunity to do it and you do something with it.
I like it. All right, and this is the last question. I probably said that twice already.
You know, like Paul.
But,
Paul was like, finally, my brother, and then he wrote 3 more chapters.
I know, right? I get it. No, I get it from him too. I do. All right. So, why do you, Tobias? Why do you have to succeed? At least one reason, no more than 3. Why do you have to succeed?
Because there's a whole bunch of people who need me and need my gift, and without it, I believe they'll fail. That is true. That's how much I believe in my product and who I am and what God gave for me. There are people who are specific for me, and if I don't do it, you know, I may not owe you. I say it to students all the time. You may not owe me something. You feel like these Tobias up there speaking. I don't owe you anything. I know. You feel like I don't owe my Uncle Jim anything, but you didn't get here by yourself. You didn't just come up to this college and write a check. You didn't do that. Somebody did it, and you owe them, and that is who. You owe somebody something, and that's who you're working for, just to let them know that you're grateful.
I like that, man. I like that.
So, man, it's just it's the little moments. It's not about money after a while. After a while, and you buy and you can pay for everything, then what? And you can buy a new house, and then what? And you got that closet full of clothes, then what? You got 3 cars, then what? You got a swimming pool, then what? You be like, yeah, dog, then after this, you bought everybody else a house on the block. Okay, then what? What will your life mean? Because if that's it, then you'll be the guy who helps everybody with a house, and in 5 or 10 years after you die, they'll forget about who you are.
Mm-hmm.
What is his name? Achilles. Was it Achilles? Yeah, Achilles in the movie Troy.
Mm-hmm.
They went to get him when he was in a fibroagria. They told the little boy, go get him. He was laid up, and he finally got up, and he got ready to go to battle. I need to watch that tonight. And the little boy said, the man I've seen fighting is the biggest man I've ever seen. They said, you know, he can crush a man's hands with his skull. He said, I wouldn't want to fight him. And then Achilles looked down at him and he said, you know what? And that is why no one will ever remember your name.
I remember that.
I was just like, oh. We want to be remembered, dude. We want to be remembered. I want to be remembered.
That's rich. That's rich. Because you expect for him to say some encouraging words like, oh, it's okay. You'll, do 100 push-ups and you'll be. No, that's why nobody going to remember you. Sit down. Coward. I'm sorry. It's real talk, though. Sometimes we need to hear the real.
It's so real. It's so real.
You know what I'm saying? Faithful are the wounds of a friend, man. That's some good stuff, man.
Let me write that down. Whoa. Wow. Yeah.
Real talk, man.
We can talk, man. We talk power. We talk power.
Yeah, you already know it's about to go into a whole nother. But, yo. Yeah, it's been a pleasure, man. We have to do this again. We have to do this again sometime.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And really, it might even be on a random Thursday. We just record the conversation, whatever the case might be. But let the people that's listening, man, know how they can get in contact with you, schools, administrators that are listening, how they can, contact you for booking. How can we get a hold of Mr. Tobias?
The website is TobiasQBrown.com, Instagram, Tobias Brown, Facebook, my like page is Tobias Q Brown, Twitter is Tobias Q Brown. I'm not hard to find it all. The office telephone number is 312-834-4445, 312-834-4445. I look forward to working with that.
What's that?
I said I look forward to working with you.
Awesome.
Well, God bless.
God bless you guys. It's been a pleasure. I'm glad that you tuned in and that you're listening here. Definitely feel free to come back next week. You guys can enjoy another podcast. We'll be talking about success, entrepreneurialism, and just sharing information that can help you in one way or more to live a better life and to reach and live your dream. So we're maintaining success and living a dream. This has been Keenan DeJean. Today sitting with Dr. Tobias Q Brown. You guys feel free to check him out, hit him up, book him, come out and listen live to his to when he speaks. Dynamic speaker. So KeenanDeJean.com. You guys already know Keenan DeJean me on Google, whatever the case is. 2 fingers, deuces, and salute. You guys take care and enjoy the rest of your week.